Hello everyone, we're back for the new week as Celtic gear up for our opener in the league against Aberdeen on Sunday. Loads happening, feels like ages since I've done one of these videos, just me, blue screen behind me. I guess I've just been out and about a lot over the last fortnight or so, but I'm back now and we've got plenty to get through, so let's get through plenty. Today we are going to round up what's happening at Celtic and send you soaring into a brand new week. And it's a packed week for Celtic and especially for 67 Hail Hail. Tomorrow on the channel we have the latest in our Ange Insight series dropping. It's with former player John Hutchinson, who Ange brought to work with him at Yokohama F. Marinos. A very interesting interview, one of the best that I've actually done in terms of the interviewee, in terms of stories about Ange, just general things you wouldn't really know. Plenty on Ange, what he's like, big emphasis on training and what that's like under Ange, obviously with Hutchinson having been one of Ange's coaches in Japan, and a bit on We Never Stop, what that really means, plenty of other stuff as well, not one to miss, so don't miss it. Later on in the week as well, we'll also have Scott McDonald back. We'll be introducing our David replacement. How could anyone ever try and replace David? It's a thankless task, but we'll get on to that later in the week. We're also planning a live show, I believe, on Friday night with a special guest with our big season predictions, and that's before we even get on to the small matter of Flag Day against Aberdeen on Sunday. So it's all happening, and you can join the 31,500 people who are now subscribed to the channel by subscribing to the channel, and you just click the wee subscribe button. It's kind of hard to miss, and then you're fully part of the furniture with regards to 67 Hail Hail. And it's a great time to get fully immersed in us all, because we are right at the start of a new season and it's going to be a bumpy ride. Great times, hopefully more great times than dull times, but certainly a bit of everything, and we're going to be there every step of the way. Now, starting today's roundup with a bit of news that the draw for the League Cup, or the Premier Sports Cup as it's known, or the Celtic won this cup, which is basically what it's been known for the last 5 or 6 seasons. The last 16 draw was made for this competition yesterday. As usual, the group stage of the tournament has been going on over pre-season, with the Scottish European representatives given a bye to the knockout round. Celtic obviously included in that this year, and indeed every year. And while we've been playing teams in pre-season, there's actually been a fair bit of drama going on in the Scottish League Cup group stage, and we've actually lost what I would say 3 pretty big teams in the tournament already. The biggest by far is Hibernian, who seem to be in a little bit of early season crisis. They, of course, were the runners-up in the competition last year, lost to us in the final, and they're already out of the League Cup at the group stage, finishing 3rd in their group behind Falkirk and Morton. There was loads of drama there with ineligible players playing. Lee Johnson, new Hibs manager, already making a bit of a name for himself. Plenty of stuff there. I sense it's not going to be a dull season if you're a Hibs fan. Lots of other interesting bits happening. St Mirren and St Johnstone also already out of the competition. St Johnstone won it a couple of years ago. They both finished 3rd in their groups, while Livingston, Kilmarnock, Aberdeen and Ross County of the top flight all made it through. And yesterday we were given the task, a pretty difficult task as well, of facing the Highlanders, Ross County in Dingwall in the last 16. This is the entire draw. Ours certainly the pick of the ties, I would say, but there are some good matches in there. Our game is likely to take place on Wednesday, the 31st of August, given that we are at Tannadice the Sunday prior to that. That would mean that the Tuesday wouldn't be workable for us. We then face Rangers the following weekend, and then a few days after that, the following midweek sees match day 1 of the Champions League group stage take place, and we're involved in that. Should say, by the way, and you may already be aware of this, that the schedule for this season's League Cup is altered from previous seasons, what we're used to. This is again due to the bizarre staging of a World Cup in the winter. The last 16 of the League Cup is at the end of August, as I've just said. It's in midweek rather than the weekend slot that we've seen in previous seasons. The quarters are in the middle of October, semis are all the way pushed to mid-January, and the final isn't until Sunday, February the 26th. Will Celtic be playing at Hampden that day? Who knows? What I would say is that February the 26th seems a long time away as we stand, or indeed sit here at this moment in time. We could be in the Champions League last 16 at that stage. Who knows? Right, moving on, and some genuinely good news here. In a Daily Record Willie column yesterday, the legend, that is Hugh Keevins, has tipped Rangers to win the league. And I think on behalf of every Celtic fan, speaking for everyone here, we say simply, thank you, Hugh. Yesterday, we also received some news on more foreign interest in Stephen Welsh, with Sky Sports' Anthony Joseph tweeting, Toulouse have made an inquiry for Celtic defender Stephen Welsh. It's understood Celtic don't want to sell him as he is part of Ange Postecoglou's first team plans. To which I replied, if he wanted to lose, he should go to Rangers. Do you get it? To lose. You still there? Yeah, a lot of people seeming to want to wish Welsh goodbye, which I find kind of strange. Yes, he's not everyone's cup of tea. I'd certainly say there's big question marks over whether he's good enough to be a first choice Celtic centre-back. But if his role was as a squad player filling in when needed, like right now when Starfelt is out, then I think he's absolutely fine for that. I genuinely do. I thought he was good on Saturday. I don't think he's half as bad as a lot of people like to make out. I don't know if he just suffers a bit from being an academy player and maybe being held to kind of higher expectations. But I thought he honestly wasn't bad at all on Saturday. And I think in general in pre-season and kind of last season as well, whenever he stood in, he very rarely let Celtic down. I think he's a fine, fourth choice Celtic centre-back, if that's what he is at the moment. Equally though, if the huge bid does come in from Toulouse, then I think it would be daft not to accept it. I do kind of feel this will probably come to nothing, just like the Udinese stuff in January. But yeah, I'm not quite as down on Stephen Welsh's hopes as a lot of people are. I think he's an important member of the squad, and I think Ange realises that as well. Now, talking about another important member of the Celtic defence, some interesting quotes from Joe Hart last night, talking about playing in unfamiliar positions, just like this photo would seem to show. Hart has been playing almost as another ball-playing centre-back in a lot of our pre-season games so far. I first noticed it in the game against Banik Ostrava, where he was very nearly lobbed twice in the first half. I think as time has gone on, he's looked more assured in that kind of unfamiliar position of basically dropping in to be another centre-back when we do have the ball. It allows the two centre-backs to go wider. It gives us more options. The full-backs still come in. The centre-mids kind of go out wide as well. I'm explaining this horrifically, but there is a reason for it, and it seems like Joe Hart kind of realises the reason as well. Speaking to various media outlets in last night's kind of news update, Hart says that is always where he wants his goalie. I know that, we know that. That's how he sees football, but he also understands you have to play with the players you have got. I couldn't just come in and play as high as that, as I'd never done it before, so I had to learn, and I'm still learning. That's why I absolutely love being here and playing under the manager. It's becoming less uncomfortable to be that high. Before, to be that high, I always thought, danger, danger, but now I understand the reasons why I am there. I am not there for any reason other than to help the team to progress and move forward. I understand the reasons better, so I feel more comfortable. When I was reading those comments, I couldn't help but be taken back to the interview I did with Matt Smith, who was Ange's captain, centre-back at Brisbane Roar, speaking about playing out from the back under Ange Postecoglou and how he found it.
you're trying to build up, and the opposition knows you're building up, and the opposition is trying to stop you. And I've got forwards and wingers trying to press me in, the midfielders are pressing in. It's petrifying, right? But it was petrifying until it became normal. So how we train and how we prepared just became the norm. So when it comes to the games, we were so prepared mentally because we trained harder than we actually played, believe it or not. Like the training sessions was so hard and intense every single day that when it comes to the games, you don't think about anything else apart from angles, spaces, movements, rotations. It was more about your teammates more so than yourself.
So interesting stuff about it becoming less daunting the more you did it. I guess that's how things work. Also, what Ange told me midway through last season.
Are there benefits to you in putting players out of their comfort zone, and the players improve more as a result?
I think it's the only way you improve. I mean, I'm constantly on at the players about that, sometimes, people will say, well, that was a perfect training session. No one made a mistake. That kind of sends a signal to me that maybe the training session wasn't challenging enough, I'm constantly talking about players not being in their comfort zones, because comfort means you're doing something not automatically, but something that is not really testing you, and that's why I'm constantly talking about improvement of us as a team. When people say, well, how much improvement is there in the team? So, well, there's always improvement, because once I see that players have got to a level where they can do something or excel in something, then my job is to test them again and make them uncomfortable. And, when you're uncomfortable and you make mistakes, it probably means if you persevere and, hopefully we provide an environment where we give them the tools to eradicate those mistakes, then you improve.
Whether we can pull this off at Champions League level, I think is quite a big question, and certainly a big ask at the moment. I'd suggest the jury is very much out on that. I think it's definitely doable domestically, certainly away from derby matches, with Hart having a more prominent role in building from the back. I think we're going to see that from Sunday onwards, because we've clearly been working on this in pre-season. And I would say, away from that Baník Ostrava game, where that for me was the first game I saw it anyway. We might have done it in the Rapid Vienna game. I didn't see the game against the Farmers, as I'm calling them, in the first match. I think it's been getting better and better, and I thought on Saturday against Norwich our play from the back was really good. Like, I thought the way we moved, especially in the first half, from defence to midfield to attack, was brilliant, and it was probably just that final ball that kind of let us down in the final third. But I thought it was really good. Hatate, McGregor especially, really dropping in and moving the ball, but the defenders as well. So I thought it was good. I think we're going to continue to see it on Sunday, and yeah, we'll just need to wait and see how it goes with Joe Hart. I know there's questions about how comfortable he is on the ball, but I remember chatting to him when he first came to the club and he did that fan media press conference, and he was chatting about how it's less about his ball playing ability and more about where his teammates are when he's got the ball.
When I first was introduced to the concept of a goalkeeper that plays out, I was, a few years ago, I just presumed that meant that you have to be unbelievable with the ball at your feet. But the more I've got comfortable with it, the more I've realised that it's a system, it's a way of playing, it's something that the whole team needs to buy into. It's not necessarily meaning that the goalkeeper at the back has to make things happen or pick passes that are dangerous. If everyone buys into the process, everyone shows for the ball. Ultimately, it's 10, 15 yard passes that we grew up learning. It's when you learn to play football, that's what you learn to do. So it's all about decisions. It's all about movement. And, I feel that if we work hard as a team, if we work hard as a unit to make it as easy as we can for each other, then certainly I can play a part in that.
And I think as much as when you watch Joe Hart playing that, high at the moment when we've got the ball, you kind of can't help but fear what happens if we give it away. And that's only in pre-season games. It's going to be even worse in competitive matches, domestic and in Europe. But I think we'll become very used to this very quickly if Celtic do persist with it. I think it'll become less of a kind of worry. Because if you think about it, at the start of last season, it was a major thing, Celtic playing out from the back. No, hoof it long. I think when we quickly became aware that wasn't going to happen under Ange, you kind of feel a lot more secure now than we did 12 months ago. I certainly do anyway when Celtic are playing out from the back. But I just find this whole thing fascinating. Again, a comment Matt Smith made to me in that interview after that first season with Brisbane Roar, you know, Ange saying to his Roar players, the media think they've worked it out, opposition managers think they've worked it out, go and change again, go and evolve, go and better yourself, go and show us something new. And if you keep doing that, the opposition will never really get onto you. And I think this is just a small part of what we're seeing with Hart doing this. It's Celtic continuing to evolve under Ange. And it's also a massive, example of Celtic having a full pre-season together and being able to work in this kind of stuff. We just wouldn't have had the time to implement something like this last season at all. I don't think, given that Hart came in so late and given that you've just constantly got matches, a lot of Celtic last season would be recovery and preparing for matches. You wouldn't actually have got the time like they've got now. And I think we're going to see that real work on the training ground kind of bearing fruit as the season goes on. But yes, as I say, I do find all this stuff very interesting when you see new things happening on the pitch. But we're going to move away from the pitch for a wee second. I did just want to bring you an update on the Celtic Park match day experience. We did this video probably about a week and a half ago now, and I did say right at the end of it that I wanted to reach out to John Paul Taylor, the Celtic supporters liaison officer, just to ask if he'd be able to offer any kind of clarity on any of the issues that we spoke about. I emailed him last week. I was expecting maybe to hear back from him, and if I did, maybe just kind of get a short reply in terms of, this is what the club's thinking on certain issues, not very much detail at all. To my surprise, he got back to me. He actually was up for meeting me before the game on Saturday, and that's exactly what we did. Sat in the main stand with him a couple of hours before kick-off for about half an hour, if not longer. Spoke about loads of things. Hell of a nice guy, does an amazing job at the club, and he was able to offer a little bit of insight into some of the issues that we spoke about on that video, and I'm going to bring you them now. Now, the first issue that we spoke about was that idea of a ticket exchange system, the one that Arsenal used, something like that, to allow Celtic Park to be as full as it can be for every single match. Now I'm going to do a bit of reading from my notes here just so I can get this 100% spot on. Now, he said it's something that the club have spoken about for a good while, but that they're reluctant to do it right now while every match is not selling out. I believe that at the moment around half of our league matches sell out every season. Maybe slightly different this coming campaign given all the hype that's around the club. But while every match isn't selling out, and while they still have general sale tickets to sell for quite a lot of matches, the club don't see the point in doing the ticket exchange stuff, which is kind of just the way it goes. Could it be done for sellout games, derbies, European matches? Perhaps. There's nothing imminent, but it is something that the club are aware of at the moment. On the fan zone, this is one where the club are still looking at options. The previous plan was to do it in the coach park behind the Jockstein stand. If you go to Celtic Park, you'll know the bit I'm talking about. Huge area there, and it'd be kind of perfect for a fan zone. But they were unable to get an alcohol licence from the council, and it kind of really all hinged on that in terms of profitability. When you lose the alcohol, you just kind of lose quite a lot. Don't know what that says about Scotland as a country, but that's the way we stand. The club are still working on it. A couple other bits of news. There is a new sports bar opening in October inside the stadium, I believe. I'll need to find out more about that. Added to that, they are trialling something new. I think it started on Saturday against Norwich, where they open the Jockstein concourse nice and early so that people who are around the stadium, mega early before games, can get inside, can be dry if it's raining, can go to the toilet, can get snacks. Hopefully there's going to be music and stuff being able to be played in there as well. So it's not really a fan zone, but it kind of stops people just hanging out in the rain, unable to eat anything apart from burgers and chips from the vans, unable to go to the toilet, all of that stuff. So I think this is a good move and should be applauded. On the main stand, this is going to be very simple and very short. There are no plans to improve it at the moment. Safe standing, Celtic fans should be receiving a wider, detailed fan survey at some stage in the not too distant future, where safe standing is likely to feature. Depending on the feedback in that, the club may look to bring in more safe standing. At the moment, the one section that we have, which houses the Green Brigade, it's the North Curve, holds 3,000 people. It's not clear if there would be a new section or how it would work, but it does seem likely, given the demand, that another standing section will be in the offing at some stage in the coming years. Very vague, a lot of this. The reason for that is I actually genuinely don't think Celtic know exactly what they're going to do in a lot of these things. I think things will change quite quickly. So it's just really guidance, a lot of this stuff. But I think it's good to know. The other thing that I wanted to touch on, and this is away from my chat with JP Taylor, was the new covers on the outside of the stadium. Now, I'm sure you will have seen these by now. I believe work is going on to get this done in time for Sunday. Having been there last week, they do look better than in the photos or this video, but probably not as nice as the previous design, if I'm honest. I know these covers had a shelf life of around 2 years. The last ones, I think, were up for 6 years. So that kind of tells you what you need to know. They were in a bit of state by the end when they were taken down this summer. While the old design had plenty of memories throughout the years going round the corners, I understand that this one will be more logo emblem based. It's kind of interesting and may have some people scratching their heads a little bit. The two prominent features on it will be Billy McNeil on one side with the European Cup, and I believe Callum McGregor on the other side with the Scottish Premiership trophy. I think we can all tell by now that the wording will be Celtic Park, where legends are made. That's the same tagline that was used on the previous ones. I'll be honest, I'm not totally sure people are going to be massive fans of the banners or the covers, whatever you want to call them, when they're finished. But I guess that people can see for themselves once they are finished, and it shouldn't be too long. Work is going on in the background. Go in with low expectations and you may be positively surprised. And talking of low expectations, I am back tomorrow when I'll be chatting to John Hutchinson. Speak to you then.